here. So chronically elevated cortisol, when your body perceives stress, happens, right? So whether physical, emotional, or even subconscious, it triggers a release of cortisol. That's a normal process that happens in the short term. But when recovery is missing, right? So you've had the stressful event, and you're supposed to come out of that stressful event, and now you're in recovery. And during the recovery, there's all the stuff that we just talked about that happens. But if you go from stress to stress to stress without the recovery, or there's just a chronic stressful process that's going on, your cortisol never fully comes down. And what that does is it tells your liver to release sugar, because remember, cortisol is the active arm of glucose, right? It goes out and finds energy. It blocks melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. It increases belly fat storage. Come on now, right in here. Right? You want to get rid of belly? Go to sleep. It suppresses muscle growth, right? Because the growth hormone, which is supposed to come out, is not there. And it decreases your insulin sensitivity, meaning that it pushes you closer and closer to, or into prediabetes and closer to diabetes. So even if you're not eating sugar, come on, even if you're not eating sugar, your body is making sugar because you're always in survival mode. And survival mode doesn't allow for healing. Because there is no healing in survival. Because remember, survival is, I need to live. So I'm not diverting any energy. I'm not putting any resources into healing the body. We just got to get away from the tiger. So why does the reset without the rebuild not work? Right? So this is why some people feel, this is why some people fast. And their glucose is still elevated. This is why they meal prep, they walk, they train, and they still plateau. Their blood pressure is still high. Their cholesterol is still high. They go to their doctor and they have not improved any of the risk factors for their heart disease. Because there's no rebuild after the reset. There's no calm after the challenge. There's a book that I read years ago. It's called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And zebras don't get ulcers because either the zebra has been caught by the predator and it's no longer alive, or the zebra doesn't worry about the predator anymore because it doesn't worry. But as humans, we're worrying. So the zebra, when it walks by that rock where the lion chased it yesterday, it doesn't say to itself, man, you know what? This is where that lion chased me yesterday. I wonder if he's still around. Or this is where that hyena tried to get me. I wonder if she's still here. The zebra, it's out of its mind. It's gone. It doesn't think about it anymore. But us, man, we'd be creeping around that thing, looking around the corner, right? Call our friends, man, this is where they traced me yesterday. This is where they always got me. And every time we approach that rock, our heart rate would go up. Right? Our mind will go into a spasm. Cortisol levels would go up, right? Because that's how we are. And so what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to get away from this. So the zebra got away from the predator and it no longer thinks about it. It's out of, and it goes into recovery. So if your body never has the chance to recover, it stays in that constant state of metabolic friction. It's fighting to maintain homeostasis, fighting to maintain sameness instead of moving forward into optimization. It's always, okay, I just got to keep vigilant rather than, okay, now let me take time, let me relax, let me calm, let me rebuild. So fasting clears the table. But recovery is what sets it for healing. No matter how clean your plate is, if you never reset, your body will resist. So now that we've looked at what happens when reset is missing, let's shift a little bit and let's talk about how to get sleep right. Right? So how do we get sleep right? Because this is where most people can make their fastest progress. Fastest progress. And the best part is it doesn't cost anything except your intentions. Right? That's all it is. So how do we actually optimize sleep to improve metabolic healing, boost insulin sensitivity, and stabilize hormones like cortisol, leptin, ghrelin? So here's your blueprint. So if you've not been writing anything down, here's a good point to start doing that. Number one, prioritize sleep timing. Prioritize sleep timing. And I'll have to say to you that of all the things that we talk about in the health access plan or action plan, this is the one that I struggle with the most. So within sleep, right? So I struggle with sleep. And within sleep, the place that I struggle the most is getting a consistent sleep window. Your body thrives on rhythm. And that includes when you go to bed and when you wake up. A consistent time supports melatonin production, right? So melatonin says, okay, I got to come out at this time. Otherwise, it doesn't know. It supports cortisol cycling and circadian alignment. So remember, circadian rhythm is that 24-hour clock that our body has. That's why people who are on swing shifts, right, their circadian rhythm is thrown off. And a lot of people who work swing shifts, they develop prediabetes, they develop weight issues, they develop other chronic illnesses, not because they are, quote unquote, doing something wrong, right? They may be exercising, they're going to the gym, they're eating right, but because their circadian rhythm is thrown off and they're not getting good rest. So you want to aim to go to bed about the same time every day, even on weekends. I got to work on this with my young guy who's here in the house. Because like everybody, and me too, when I was growing up, right, the feeling is, man, it's the weekend, so time doesn't matter. And it's the holidays, time doesn't matter. And it's summer vacation, time doesn't matter. But it does matter to your hormones and to your circadian rhythm. The magic window, listen to this, the magic window for melatonin and growth hormone production, right, these are the peaks, between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And this is assuming a normal sleep cycle. So 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So if you're up way past 2 a.m., you're missing two of the most essential hormones that help with metabolism. So missing that window, even if you sleep the same number of hours, can blunt the benefits that you get from those two. Right? That's number one. Right? So prioritize sleep timing. Number two, respect the eating window. So no meals 1 to 2, sometimes people say 3 hours before you go to bed. When you eat late at night, your insulin stays elevated, especially if the meal includes sugary stuff, which a lot of us will eat. And high insulin blocks melatonin. So you had a meal an hour ago, hour and a half ago, and now you're trying to go to sleep. Well, melatonin is not coming out in its full force, and so you have difficulty going to sleep. And so your going to sleep is delayed. Because going to sleep is delayed, remember we said that there are certain things that happen in the very first few hours of deep sleep. So your sleep is delayed. Now you do go to sleep, but then you have to get up early to go to work or go to class or go do something. So you're shortened that window, and because you did not spend enough time in deep sleep, you don't get the benefits of recovery. Right? So your body stays in the digest mode when it should be in the repair mode when you eat late. So you want to try close your eating window at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. Save carbs for the next day, earlier in the day, and choose lighter evening meals if needed. Right? That's number 2. Number 3, ditch the blue lights. Power down your technology about 60 minutes before bed. Now, as I say that, right? So, can I tell on myself? There are some times that there's something that I'm working on, some project I'm working on, and I will, because I don't want to disturb other people when I come to bed, I'll turn the stuff off and I'll just get right here and I sleep. I fall asleep and get up, sleep for a couple hours, get up, and I'll do something here. But the lights are on. I mean, they're not. Oh, these lights are not on, right? So they're off, but there's the beep of the hard drive and the glow of this thing, and yeah. So ditch the blue lights. Power down technology about 60 minutes before bed. The screens emit blue light, which tells your brain it's daytime, even if it's midnight. The blue light suppresses melatonin by up to 50% is what they've said, what has been shown. And that delays sleep and reduces sleep quality. Right? So you want to turn off devices or use the light filters, right? One of those about 1 hour before bed. Choose alternative how to say this. So one of the things I propose is I said people should journal, right? Now I'm a techno geek, and so I do a lot of my stuff on technology. But I also have a handwritten journal. And sometimes just having that in hand, it calms me, I think clearer, and it avoids me doing something on technology just up until I go to bed, right? Because if you're journaling, guess what? So a lot of times we journal up until we go to bed. That would be our kind of relaxing, decompressing, that'll be our routine. But try to do that by hand. Right? So choose something that kind of relaxes you rather than scrolling. Right? Do some journaling, some prayer, some reading, some guided meditation. And then number 4, a cool, dark, quiet room. So create the right environment. Now, I don't like cool, right? So that's a thing. But all the other ones, right? Dark and quiet. Right? So they say the optimal temperature, and I need to go find these researchers and talk to them and say, wait, are you guys sure? Right? They say it's like in the 60s, right? I'm not even going to tell you the number because it's ridiculous. Right, so use blackout curtains, use the mask. When we traveled overseas, one of the best sleeps I had was when I put that mask on, right? Because I didn't know anything else. There were people around me. There was the noise of the plane, which I loved, by the way. It sounded almost like thunder and rain, right? So I had that mask on, and I went, oh, it was so good. Okay, so maybe I need to take some more trips overseas. Keep the noise low and use white noise to block distractions, right? So I play rain sounds, thunderstorm sounds. I play ocean. I play ocean, but not as much as the thunderstorm sound because I love thunderstorms. And if you need additional help for sleep, talk to your healthcare provider. Right? There are different things that they can use. So good sleep is not an accident. It's not an accident. It's an architectural experience. It's an orchestrated process. And when you build the environment and the rhythm, your metabolism responds. But even when all of this is happening, sleep is still only a part of the equation. Because sleep is one type of rest, but it's not the only rest that your body needs. So let's talk a little bit about rest and recovery and why the pillar carries both names. Remember, it's rest and recovery. Why is that the case? It is really not just called reset, right? So it's reset and recovery because your body needs both. Why is rest important? So rest is important because it's about pausing, right? So we're pausing in the process. It's about creating a gap in your day or in your energy output. Rest can be sleep, it can be stillness, it can be deep breathing, it can be prayer, it could be silence. It could be mental disengagement from screens and stress and conversation. It's the moment you step away from the demand and let your nervous system downshift, right? Driving that stick shift and downshift, right? So what is recovery? Recovery is different. Recovery, it's not passive. It's biological work. It's the process your body initiates to repair demand. It is the rebuilding of tissue. It is the adapting of stress. Recovery includes muscle protein synthesis after strength training, glycogen rebalancing after fasting or intense movement, growth hormone spikes that preserve lean muscle, autophagy and cellular repair, emotional processing after mental fatigue. All of that is where rest and recovery is happening. Or this is recovery. I shouldn't say rest and recovery. This is where recovery is happening. Rest quiets the system and recovery upgrades the system. So why does the distinction matter? Because you can lie on the couch for 3 hours and still not be recovering. You might look like you're resting, but your mind is racing. Your phone is scrolling. Your cortisol is climbing. Or you might be doing light walk, hydration, or stretching, and your body is in full recovery mode because of what you're doing. Rest is the pause, recovery is the process. And both are required to heal, not just survive. So here's how I like to explain it. Fasting creates the catabolic environment, right? So it's the breakdown, right? So catabolism. Recovery supports the anabolic environment. That's the rebuilding. And rest provides the hormonal calm that lets it all happen. And I'm a hormone doctor, right? So I think everything works with hormones. I shouldn't say I think. Everything does work with hormones. All the other specialists that are out there, I love you guys. I love you being in the body, but none of your stuff works without us. Is that a little biased? Yeah, it is. So one without the other, rest without recovery, right, leads to plateaus, leads to burnout, and rebound behaviors. So why can't you get away from the cravings? Why can't you stop buffering with whatever it is that you're buffering in? Because we need both rest and recovery. And so now that you know why both are beneficial and why they're essential, let's talk about how to integrate them into your everyday life. Not just at night, but during the day, in small strategic moments that tell your body, hey, you're safe. You can heal now, right? So what are some daily practices, daily recovery practices, how to build rest without sleeping? So how do we make this practical? Because most of us can take up to, we can't take naps, right? We can't take naps at 2 p.m. Or I suppose we could if we can force it. Or we can't go on 3-day retreats to reset our nervous system. But here's a good way to think about it. And this is good news. You don't need more than an hour in a day. You need micro moments of restoration. So the real goal is to regulate the nervous system. right? When we talk about regulating and restoring and dysfunctional metabolism, your body is constantly cycling between two states, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Fight or flight, fight, flight, and go, or rest and digest, which is a repair. So when you're always wired, when you're always stressed, when you're always rushing, when you're always overcommitted, when you're always going, your nervous system dominates. The sympathetic nervous system dominates, and it blocks healing. What we're aiming for is intentional downshifting to the parasympathetic system so that it can heal and it can be in that state. So here's some daily rest and recovery tools you can use. 5 of them. Ready? Number 1, breath work. If you've been following us on the Strength, Strategy, and Mindset, at the end of the show, we do some centering exercises and we do some breathing. Deep breathing lowers cortisol. It reduces heart rate. It calms the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve is that sympathetic one. Try breathing. So it's basically called box breathing. So inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold it for 4 seconds. So in through your nose, hold it for 4, breathe out through your mouth, and hold it for 4. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold it for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically box breathing. So you're learning how to control that. So that takes, what? Maybe a minute or two? Just one round of doing that for 2 to 3 minutes can completely shift your state. Number 2, stillness or silence. Start or end your day with total silence. Sometimes I get up in the morning and I just lay there. I'm not thinking about anything. Not that I'm trying not to think about anything, right? Nothing. I'm not talking. I don't need to go look at my phone. I just want to be there. So no input, no scrolling, no talking. Sit still, lie still, close your eyes, breathe. You can do the box breathing while you do this. This tells your body the threat is gone. It's time to heal. Preparing the body for that. Number 3, prayer or meditation. These practices often give mental rest and emotional reset. Whether you call it mindfulness, devotion, or centering, it's one of the best tools for inner regulation because it helps to get you centered. I read a book years ago called The Power of Now. Beautiful book that says, I'm here right now. I'm present right now. When I do my devotion, when I do my journaling, when I pray, all of those are methods of me getting into this space. Number 4, nature and movement. A slow walk outdoors without your phone can lower your cortisol by as much as 30% or more. No need to run, no need to jog. Just walk, just observe, and be still. Now you can incorporate this into, when we talk about metabolic optimization via exercise, you can incorporate this into your process, right? So at the end of your walk, take about 10 minutes, 3 minutes, right? You've walked for 30 minutes, take a couple minutes. And as you're walking back, just relax, do some breathing. And then one that I just have to plug, journaling or emotional processing. Recovery also includes the mind. Give your thoughts a place to land so they don't swirl in your system all night. Sometimes we can't sleep because the brain is trying to remember all the things and trying to make sense of all the things that it had to deal with that day. But if we take a journal and we put that on the paper, when it goes on the paper, the brain says, I don't have to remember that anymore because I know where to go and find it. It's on the paper. And so that's one thing that's out of the mind. When you write, when you journal, right? That's a process of taking that information, and you have to think about the information in order to write it. That's why writing by hand is such a great thing, because it has to come here, it has to go through the mind, and it has to come into an electrical signal so that your brain can tell your hand what to write. That is processing in itself. Gratitude journals. Write 3 things that you're grateful for. Offload one of the things that you're worried about. Okay, I'm grateful for this. This is the thing that's top on my list about worry. Put it on the journal. Guess what? Once it goes in the journal, your brain says, okay, I know where that is now. I can go pick it up whenever I want. Reflect on what healed or helped you stay grounded today. Whenever we had our community meetups, one of the very first thing I ask people is, what is a win that you had? What's a win? Writing creates a release. Release leads to regulation, and regulation leads to healing. So healing doesn't only happen at night. It happens in the space between stress. When you choose to stop, when you choose to breathe, when you choose to reflect, and you choose to just be. So now let's bring it home. Let's bring it all together. And look at how the pillars, this pillar, rest and recovery, supports every single other part of the health action plan. Because without recovery, rhythm falls apart. And without rest, reset doesn't stick. Yeah. So how reset and recovery reinforce the Limitless Living Health Action Plan? Rest is an extra. It's not a nice to have. It's the glue that holds the Limitless Living Health Action Plan together. Rest supports fasting. Fasting works best when cortisol is balanced. Without rest, stress hormones rise and blood sugars stay elevated even if you haven't eaten. And because the blood sugar stays elevated, insulin stays elevated, and insulin inhibits ketone production. A well-rested body fasts longer, so you get into the fast sooner, and you stay in the fast longer, more calmly, without those struggles for the for you don't have those cravings. It can access fat more easily, the body, and stay out of stress spirals. We don't get those big spikes. Number 1. Number 2, recovery enhances strength training. You don't get stronger during the workout. You get stronger in the recovery after the workout. So it's not when you're lifting that you get strong. It's after those muscles have been fatigued, and you may have some tears in the fibers of the muscle. As those muscles recover, as they heal, they get bigger. If you don't sleep well, don't downregulate your nervous system. If you don't rebuild protein stores, your muscles don't grow, and you increase your risk of injury and burnout. And you're exercising, you're strength training, but you're not getting the benefit of the metabolically active muscles. Rest sharpens food awareness. Balance bites. When you're well rested, your brain makes better food decisions. Your cravings decrease. Leptin and ghrelin, the hormones that control hunger and fullness, start working better again. And suddenly, balanced bites aren't a struggle, they become natural. Rest makes walking more powerful. People think they need to go harder. But when you recover and you become good at that, even a walk can become therapeutic. Walking helps you rest, and rest helps you walk. They're synergistic. Rest is the reinforcer. Think of it this way. Walking is the rhythm. Fasting is the reset. Strength is the stimulation and the building. Balanced bites is the nourishment and the fueling. And rest and recovery is the reinforcement. Without rest, without recovery, those other parts start to crumble. But with it, your result sticks. They stack on each other and they become better. So you're not just trying to do more, you're trying to heal better. And healing only happens when effort meets recovery. That is what's going on. This is the process. And you can start right now, at this very moment, to say, okay, I am going to get the rest that I need. And so here's your challenge for this week. Track your sleep. You don't have to change anything. What time do you start? What time do you wake up? And how do you feel? Are you getting appropriate rest? And add one non-sleep moment of each of rest to each of your days. Whether it's breath break, a journal session, or a quiet walk. One non-sleep rest moment, I guess I should say. One non-sleep rest moment. Right? So breathing, journaling, walking, whatever it is. And by all means, as you go through the rest of this week, protect the rest the same way you protect your meals and protect your workout. Because rest isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And wisdom leads to healing. And after all, the Health Action Plan is all about how we right the metabolism. We'll continue talking through the Health Action Plan as we move through the rest of the pillars. But make sure that you do what you need to do to make sure that this right now is a great part of what you are doing. Get some rest and recovery. All right, so that is our Health Action Plan in action, yeah? That's our Health Action Plan in action. So rest is not just, and rest is, it's not a waste, it's not an option. It is the thing that we need to do if we are going to get all of the others tied together. Okay? Because it is during this process that we get all those benefits. Let's go ahead and say hello to, I do see some community members that are out there. Let's see. So I think we said hello to Teresa, Steve. Let's get down here. Guy Pierce, President, CEO. True that. Sleeping puts you in rest and recovery. And it says, very nice, Dwain. Check out Med School Network link. We'd love to hear your feedback and input. Well, thank you for doing that, saying that to us. All right. So for everyone, remember, we are continuing in the process, and what we do is we're working on getting that metabolism better. So whether you are wherever you found us, whether you found us during one of our fasts, or talking about balanced bites, how we fuel the body, whether you found us during our walking series, where you found us during our strength training series, wherever you are, our platform is based on three things: educate, empower, and encourage. We educate with the shows, with the podcasts, with the blogs, so that you understand how your body works and what are the things that are going on in your system that you can make choices about. Okay? So sometimes it's a matter of changing our perspective, changing our mindset, giving us a different way of looking at something. So we educate, we empower with tools. The Health Action Plan, the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, is a tool. Now you have a blueprint of what to do, how to follow, what you can do to right your metabolism. The walking, right? 100-day walk to consistency that we are currently still continuing to do, right? So we've ended the series, but it's still a process. The strength training, strength strategy and mindset that we're doing. Balanced bites. All of those things are tools that allow you to put into practice what we've already learned. So we educate, we empower, and this amazing community that you are part of, that you are helping to build, that you get to see practical, actual success stories. And we get to support each other as we fast, as we talk about what we're eating, maybe some challenges that we're having. We've got our community meetup that happens once a week, once a month. We've got our community board, our Kajabi, where you can come and support each other. All of this is with the intention that we're creating an environment for ourselves that helps us to be successful, not just for today or tomorrow or next week or even the next month or year, but that it's going to take us for the rest of our lives. Because this is what we've got. We've got one life. We've got one body, and how we take care of it and the things that we do to write it and get it in the best possible shape, they're so important. So we educate, we empower, and we encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. So we will be back later this week as we continue our trek through this process. Of course, we'll do our fasting starting on tomorrow after probably about 1 o'clock or so. We'll do our check-in Wednesday night, Thursday, and Friday. Video from the vault on Saturday night at 9 p.m. And then, of course, This Week in Review on Sunday morning at 6 a.m. Next Monday, we'll be right back here for Dwain Woode, MD Live as we continue walking through the Health Action Plan. And we will see you in the community meetup. I will see you after the show for those of you who are in our community. We'll be putting that link out here in just a minute. And I encourage you all, don't let the Limitless Living Health Action Plan just be a poster or be a show or be something on the wall. When you show up, go ahead, let us know, get involved. Remember what it's called? It's called the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, because action is what is needed. Your action gives it power. It's theory on the show. It's theory in the wall. It's theory on the video. It's theory in your note, in your journal. But when you begin doing it, when you begin applying it, then it comes to life. And then you can be a voice for change. There are over 1 billion people on the planet right now who suffer from diabetes and pre-diabetes. That's just a part of the metabolism problem. We talk about high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver, obesity, and on and on and on. Those people need to know that they can make changes to their lives. And you, because you're having successes and because you are in the space, you can say to them, no, we don't have to keep having those issues. We can be better. And so you become a voice to help change the environment, because that's what Limitless Living says, right? It says that we are doing everything we can for our success, and part of our success is what goes on in the community. Hey, I'm always glad when I'm here with you. Always glad to be in the community with you. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives, which says we're not allowing anything from outside or inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We are breaking free from those constraints. We are presenting our best self, our best health, and the best plans for our lives. I want you to go ahead, live that limitless life, and don't let anything stop you. Good night, everybody. We'll see you in these streets.